Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome. Let me get myself adjusted here. What's going on, everybody? What's good? Get this thing lined up. Welcome everybody. Blessings from up high to everybody. Hopefully y'all can hear me a-okay. We're gonna wait for a little bit here. Get some more folks up in here. Let me know if y'all can hear me loud and clear. Let me know. Cause I got the grandkids in the background there, so that might get a touch little loud real quick. You know how that goes. It's Wednesday. We've survived the Wednesday, people. We have survived to Wednesday. You know what I mean? If I could get this thing to sit down right, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Can y'all hear me okay? Are we good? I don't know why I got this thing big booming in my face. I might need to fix that. Throw that off screen. There we go. That works. I should have thought about that earlier. Seeing some destinations won't get comments. Let me pull up Facebook just in case y'all are messaging me. Now I can't see it because this program I'm using. I didn't want to do all that. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. I hate reaching back. I'll get with y'all in a second. I just want to make sure everything is working. Okay, all right. I see you guys' chat. Okay, good. That's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see. Very good. All right. Got a couple people in here. I know it's around dinner time, so I won't keep you that long, but I want to talk about a couple things, folks. You know, I guess this is kind of like a supplement to the last video I did about the Capitol stuff and what have you. And I wasn't too brash, but I think this is the point in time I gotta have this brash conversation, because at any given time they could wipe my Facebook account out, what have you, for whatever reason. We've seen it happen to way too many good people, right? So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna get this off my chest and take it as you may. The last 4 years in America has been some of the most vitriolic, sinister, like, I can't even explain how far into a sunken place Americans have gotten where they can't show decency to each other. Even worse, as a conservative, it really pains me to see families split up because of one man. To see marriages dissolve or in divorce because of one man. Do people understand what type of mindset that is? To allow one person to interfere with all of your relationships with people, or even dissolve them. You know how stupid that sounds? Yes, I'm going to call it exactly what it is. How stupid that sounds? Oh, it's going to get stupider in a minute. Trust me. We've gotten to a boiling point in America where it's always people pointing at each other, right? Trying to counter the extremism. And I used to be the type of person, right? To be like, you know what? I'm not going to go there with you. You can call me whatever you want to call me. You can call me this, that, third, whatever. And I warned those same people that it would come back to bite them if they participated in this type of demoralizing behavior. Well, we come around 2018 after the midterms, and look what happened. Look what happened. Both the left and the right are participating in this just all-out warfare on literally like who is human, who isn't, who is actually civil, right? It's like a fight over facts, right? Where it's gotten to a point where there is so much misinformation on both sides. It's like a huge cloud of, call it whatever you want. It's a big dark cloud of despair over both camps. This despair brings out the viciousness in people. It brings out the inherent racism in people, and they don't realize it. It also brings out the illusions of grandeur, seeing things that aren't really there, or seeing what's actually there, but denying it's even existing. And now every single American don't know who to trust anymore. They can't even trust their own family because of what they've been told about one particular man or one particular party. I mean, hell, we're at a point right now where you have United States senators calling a group of people domestic terrorists. Now, hold that thought, because a lot of folks on the right called said people, the BLM Antifa stuff that went on over the summer, the Portland stuff that went on, were also called domestic terrorists too. This look at what the paradigm they've created, right? They created the paradigm where, well, y'all labeled this as domestic terrorism, so we're going to use your precedent and use it against you, but in an illicit way. To a point, going back to my started the point there, we have a sitting U.S. senator begging airline companies, even the FBI, to put conservatives on a no-fly list. This is where we're at. You're going to have hardworking Americans put on a no-fly list. And it's not one or two or three. We're talking 100,000, even 1 million plus people put on a no-fly list. And those are my folks that are on the other side, knows exactly what I'm talking about. Chuck Schumer. I don't see any of y'all calling this out at all, period. Because if the roles were reversed, again, no. You would literally want government to dictate who comes and goes in private business. Is this what we're doing now? You want to talk about an offense to be expelled for? That's one. But we're not getting into that. That's another conversation for another day. But we have gotten to the point where we have sitting elected officials calling for people's heads because they were in Washington that day. But these same people want to talk about civility. Well, we can't have civility unless we have humility. Until you're willing to give that humility, there will never be civility. And that's a sad place to be. That is a very sad place to be. Now we have 75 million Americans that are being broad brushed as domestic terrorists, as they have been. They've been broad brushed as white supremacists. They have been broad brushed with all kinds of different names, fascists and everything else. I thought one of the principles of America was individualism. Isn't that what the framers wanted? Individualism? Isn't that one of the core tenets of conservatism is individualism? We're in a sunken place, America. We are in a very, very sunken place. And I don't mean to be the doom and gloom of it all. I don't think we can come back. It's like America has split down two different timelines. Again. This time it's not racial, it's ideological. All right, literally, there is no more conversations to be had. There is no more conversations to be had about really any of this. I can hope for conversation, don't get me wrong. But as long as we keep broad brushing groups of people or people kowtowing to use those labels for some sort of financial or political game, the grifting game, it ain't ever going to change. There was a point in time in America when I grew up in this America where it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you was a Democrat or a Republican or a progressive or a liberal or a conservative. You could walk out your front door of your house, knock on your neighbor's front door, and ask how they doing and have a cup of coffee. Even talk about politics. But not to the point where when you walk by that person, you hold your head down because you don't even want to make eye contact with them because of the nasty things y'all have said to each other. Like, y'all excuse my grandkids. What legacy are we leaving? What legacy are we leaving for our grandkids? They're going to look back at this point in history and they're going to see everything laid out. And our grandchildren and great grandchildren are they're going to look at us and be like, what happened? What happened? Us Americans living right now, present day, owe our grandchildren and great-grandchildren in America, we will leave. What we grew up in. They deserve that. They deserve that 100%. What are we doing? What are we doing about it? These walls of vitriol, these walls of division, have to come down. They have to come down. They have to come down. Nothing will ever change if they don't come down. I mean, it's literally like America is in a 2-year-old temper tantrum. My grandchildren act way more civil than most of these adults in America. Now I'm going to turn my focus somewhere else a second. Speaking of humility. The inherent racism that we're literally seeing in our country right now. And if this is going to make people uncomfortable, I'm telling you right now, you might as well either jump off the live and go live your rest and go enjoy the rest of your evening, because this is going to get really uncomfortable for a whole lot of people really fast, because it has to be said. We went through a period in time in America where racism was the absolute issue on 90% of things. But going in the opposite direction, right? It's one group pointing out inherent racism in others, right? We went through that. Jim Crow, black codes, all that. We went through that. But what we're seeing now, America should be ashamed of itself. It should be ashamed of itself to allow herself to get to this point where you have white people literally being racist to fellow white people. Or black folks literally being racist towards other black folks. And if people think it's okay, when was it ever okay to marginalize someone because of an immutable characteristic? When has it ever been okay? The same nonsense, people, the same nonsense that these people talk about fighting the white supremacy and all that nonsense and the systemic racism. When you infight with each other over immutable characteristics, you're propping up the same system. You are propping up the same exact system. White privilege is a bunch of crap. White privilege is actually white fragility. Let's get that right now. And let me explain how I come to that solution. Right? People use the term white privilege in a derogatory manner towards white folks. They say, oh, look at all the privilege you got. You should use some of that for me. Or feel guilty because you're more privileged than I am. It's used as a weapon. What ends up happening in the face of white privilege, people get fragile because they're being denigrated. They're being demoralized because they're told, because of their immutable characteristic, that they have everything and I don't have anything because of my immutable characteristic. The white privilege narrative creates white fragility. Period. Now I'm going to flip the script. For my fellow black people in America, stop with the Coon, Sambo, and Uncle Tom bullshit. That's the same rhetoric. Same exact. And don't get me wrong, I have a thick skin. Some people don't. Here's a harsh reality. When you black folks, when you call other black folks coons and Sambos and Uncle Toms, are you not calling another black person the same language your parents was called growing up? How disrespectful is that of you? How disrespectful is that of you, of your parents and your grandparents that lived through that, even had family members hung because of those monikers, and you think it's okay today to sling those words around, just roll off the tongue like it's easy, but you want to talk about fighting white supremacy? We're at a sick time in our country. Very sick. So again, how do we get to civility if there's no humility in our society? How do we get there? Ask yourself that question. How do we get there? It's all pure evil. I never thought in 45 years of my life, 45 years of my life, growing up in the Deep South, where I had to deal with the Klan. I literally ran the streets scared sometimes. And to come to a time in the 21st century, I would literally hear the words of this again. These people that talk about this racism nonsense ain't never seen racism. True, deep racism. Never seen it. Probably never will. But they got to perpetuate and keep the lie going to keep people in their emotions about it. We got to do better, America. We have to do better by our fellow man. We got to do better. Because if not, that division that's being sown will end up taking us under. Actually, it is already taking us under. The lack of civility, let me take that back. The lack of humility is subverting us. I want y'all to think about that. I want you to think about what role you have played in this. And that includes everything down to the T. The name calling. What if you participated in trying to dox somebody? All that. You think about you think about this today. Am I my brother's keeper? Are you? Are you your brother's keeper? We got to tear the walls down, people. We have to tear the walls down, period. We don't have a choice. Excuse me a minute, I gotta move this off my screen. Something just popped up. I greatly apologize for that. There will not be unity unless there's civility. And you can't have civility without humility. We have to get back to that point. We got to stop demoralizing each other. We got to stop telling each other that their own self-evident truths are not truths. We got to get away from that. I know it's not a perfect world, perfect America. But it starts now. Should have started years ago. And I know folks on the right have an itchy finger for Joe Biden to go off on him. I'm not here to tell you to go off on him or not to go off on him. Y'all, most of y'all know how I am. Do what you do. It don't bother me. Do what you do. I know what decisions I've made. Right? You know what decisions you're making. And leave it at that. So I'll still revisit the same question. Are you your brother's keeper? Or are you trying to be your brother's keeper? Once you answer that question, we are on our way to civility. And social media is that corruption. Guess what, people? You don't have to respond to every single post you see. You don't have to. That in itself is a start towards humility. Because if you don't respond sometimes, people will get the message. Everybody has their threshold. Find out where yours is. I appreciate y'all stopping in real quick for the evening, watching me say what I had to say. I don't apologize if I made you uncomfortable. I still love you, though. I still love you. But there's going to be a lot more of these uncomfortable conversations to come, because it's about time. It's about time we have a reckoning. It's about time we have a reckoning and set all this straight. So I appreciate y'all again for stopping by. Blessings to all of you from up high. And some of you, I will probably see y'all on Saturday. The rest of you, I'll probably see you some other time or talk to you. And have a safe and blessed evening.